What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Press X unboxing, review, opinion video on DC Deck Building's Multiverse box. This is very off base for what I typically put on this channel. I normally stick to video games and just comic book movies. But this is just something I couldn't find on the YouTubes, on the internet in general. I had lots of questions about this thing and couldn't find the answers, and it was a little frustrating. So I ended up getting it, jumping in and getting it anyway, and then I wanted to put out a video with some of the questions answered that I had going in because I couldn't find them, at least easily. I had to do a lot of digging. So here we go. This is for people who know this game, who have lots of expansions, lots of sets. And basically, it is a box, a nice, high-quality box that holds all of the expansions, including the new Birds of Prey expansion, and it also holds the Confrontation expansion that will be coming out in the near future. And there's probably enough room to hold another one or two expansions, depending on how you kind of stuff the box up, which we will take a look at. It also comes with its own game mode, and that's something that I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a review on, because sometimes these game modes are hit or miss. There was the Crisis one, which I didn't like very much. There was the Watchmen one, which I did like. I don't love it, but I liked it. And then there's this one, which is a little bit different. So I'm going to talk about that. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you all the new cards from this that come packaged in. There's 33 new cards. And for people who don't want to know what they are, that'll be at the end of the video so that it doesn't spoil it for you, because I know I personally don't like knowing what the cards are ahead of time. So first thing I'm going to do is open this up and show you kind of how I have it laid out. And you can lay it out any number of ways. I was experimenting quite a bit before I found a way that I liked. So, talk about those later. I have some of the rule books for some of the more complicated games in here that I sometimes forget the rules to, or I don't play very often. So I just stick them in there. And then here it is. I have all of my base sets on the bottom, with some foam inserts. That it comes with these foam inserts, and the foam inserts just kind of keep everything in there nice and snug. They're not rolling around, they're not getting damaged. You can actually turn the sets sideways and have them fit exactly in there if you wanted to, and you could probably fit more cards that way, but I wasn't a big fan of doing that because it made it kind of hard to get them out, but you can do it. There's these very nice tabs that are plastic that come with it. This is very heavy, that are plastic and come with it. And they have those for kicks, punches, vulnerabilities, weaknesses, all the sets. So Heroes United, the original set, Forever Evil, Teen Titans, and then all of the expansions from the Crisis sets to the Legion, Arrow, Rivals, which is one some people might not have picked up, the Batman Joker Rivals, Birds of Prey, the new one, and new sets will be coming with more tabs to stick in there. And then it has one for promos, but instead of promos, I just put all my supervillains there, personally, because I like playing with a bunch of random supervillains. I think it makes the game a little bit more exciting, not knowing what supervillain's going to come up at any time, and it could be any of that very large list of supervillains. And then finally, the superheroes, which I have these in these Ultra Pro sleeves that I cut the tops off of, and they fit pretty perfectly in there. Not as snug width-wise as I would like, but it's pretty good. A little bit of work. You weasel them in there, and then you got to cut the tops off. So they're like top-loading Ultra Pros. But I have all of them, and they just fit in there, and you can put them like that, or you can lay them down if you wanted to. I guess it's important to note that all of my cards, not just these heroes, but all of my regular cards are indeed sleeved in clear plastic Ultra Pro sleeves. So there's that. If you want to sleeve your entire collection, it does fit sleeved. So the way that this set works is it takes cards from all of the sets. Basically, you pick a base set that you're playing with, and then there's a second lineup. And like I said, this is for veterans of this game. People who know all of these cards, because the game mode does take a little while. You need to know basically all of the cards and be able to make fast decisions to keep the game going. But you pick one of the sets, you put it as your lineup, and you have a second lineup. And that second lineup is dictated by something called the Randomizer, which is got its own tab. It's a new thing for here, and it basically is just a bunch of cards with the different types of sets on it. And you'll flip one of those, and it'll say like Teen Titans or Rogues or Rivals or something like that. And you take whatever deck it told you and put that in as a second lineup, and you reveal the top 5 cards of that lineup. So now you have 2 dueling lineups going at the same time. And there's also event cards, which are new to this, which influence that new lineup in some way. Maybe they make heroes cheaper, or maybe they give you a bonus if you buy cards from it, or something along those lines, which will help certain superheroes more than others. So you might want to buy the entire lineup, because once that lineup empties, instead of refilling, it goes away and you go to another one. And that's how they explain the multiverse, and each one has a slightly different effect. Each one is a different lineup. With that said, all of your cards are getting mixed together during this. So this comes with cards that you shuffle into the main deck that you're playing with, and they change up the game. Maybe you'll add random cards from the Multiverse, which is this box, into your deck at some point because of it, or maybe you get to do something with the second lineup that you wouldn't normally have any access to. It adds a select number of Multiverse cards to it just to spice it up just enough. Some new mechanics for this new game are that not only do you have a hero, you also have a new thing called a Multiverse location, I believe. Yes, they're called Multiverse locations, and everybody's going to get one of these, and the way they work is essentially they're another hero ability. And like I said, I'm not going to spoil all of these for you because some people like going in blind, but they basically are another hero ability for you to have while you play this game mode. And if you're able to meet the requirement on the card, whether it's like play 2 heroes or whatever it is, you get to attack a foe of your choice. What do you attack them with? Well, normally in the game, you have a deck of supervillains. In this one, you have your own deck of supervillains, and everybody else also has their own. So there's going to be a 9 cost, a 10 cost, and an 11 cost supervillain if you're playing the standard game. There's impossible mode variants, which make it a little harder. There's quicker mode variants that make the game a little bit faster. But you can choose to attack a foe's supervillain pile, and it works basically the same way as the regular game. The only big difference is first appearances don't trigger the first appearance attack. Killing them does. So that's kind of the big twist. You kill them, and then at the end of the turn, it does its attack. Then, on top of that, there's a regular supervillain stack that you can try and take out that has some very expensive supervillains in it, so it's sort of rough to do if you want to try to win that way. But you can take them out and count your victory points and win like normal. Or you can take out your opponents and win the game. You're always attacking the person to your left, and you're getting attacked by the person on your right. But if you do take out the person on your left, you can then attack the next person. And that is really the way this game is meant to be played. The other supervillains in there are really just there because if you knock somebody out, they can still fight those middle supervillains. They lose their villains, obviously, and they lose their multiverse location that gave them their second ability, but they can still play the game and try and take out those regular villains and win via victory points. Trust me, this game is about killing the other people. Very much. That is the game mode. The other thing is literally there to keep people included, and I honestly don't think it's a terrible idea to make a house rule that if you get knocked out, you're out of the game, especially when playing with 4 or more people, because, like I keep saying, the game will go long otherwise, which means all of these cards are going to constantly be mixed up, and the cleanup on this game is something. It helps to have people all helping you sorting by set, but I'm going to show you the solution that I used to sort these things. And it makes it a lot quicker, and it makes this game mode a lot more enjoyable because you're not thinking about the impending doom of sorting it and putting everything back after you're done. So this is what I did. I got these market dots off of Amazon, and they're fairly cheap. You can just pick them up, and they stick right onto the card, and they peel right off. They're not going to damage the card in any way, shape, or form. And I just got a variety of colors. You can get a bunch of colors. I just grabbed a couple, and I basically sticker them on the bottom right of the card, right by the cost. You totally don't really notice them. Sometimes I use 2 colors to represent maybe an expansion or something along those lines. And then when you're sorting, even if you're playing with people who don't know, or even if a card's in there by accident, you can quickly catch it because it's going to have different sticker colors. And I went through and stickered all of my sets. Orange is Teen Titan, blue is the original set, red is the Heroes United, purple's Forever Evil, and I went through and I labeled all of them so that I wouldn't have a problem sorting the cards afterwards. And it's one of those things, it's a little bit of a headache to do it at the start and go through all the cards and do it, but once you're done, it saves you so many headaches in the future. Totally worth it. Highly recommended that you do that. So yeah, overall, this is a really nice package. It was $25. It's a great box. It's got enough room to hold all of these sets. Like I said, I think that if you have multiple sets, if you only have a couple, but there's I don't even know how many sets at this point. If you have over half of them, I think this is absolutely worth picking up. You have people that, like a play group that you play with all the time, eventually it might get a little stale, and this is an awesome way to end the night. You play a couple games of the regular one and you go, okay, Multiverse box game. Let's go. The Multiverse box is awesome. The Birds of Prey expansion that came out at the same time is actually my favorite of the expansions, so just a little nod to that. I would pick that one up, specifically if you have the Teen Titan set, which is my favorite base set. The Birds of Prey works very well with it. The mechanics in it are weird at first, and then as soon as you start playing, you're like, oh, this makes perfect sense, unlike something like the Arrow set. Go to your local game stores, check, see if you can grab one. I think they're going to be a little bit more limited than most of these other things that you're going to be able to get, so definitely take a look at your local game store and see if you can pick up the Multiverse box for DC. Also, it's really heavy. If somebody tries to rob you, you can hit them with it and you'll probably go to jail for manslaughter, so that's sweet. Here's a look at some of the cards.